Okay, we learned a lot in Perek Yud Daled and in Tesvav, and the main point of it, main chidush, if you will, of Reb Chaim Volozhin in Perek Tesvav is that when we talk about the neshama being within the person, it's not really within the person. It's choifefes alav. Since the time of Adam Harishon, the neshama per se went out of the person, and it's choifefes alav. So what that means is, just to review, is that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam Harishon, the idea was that Vayipach Ba'apav Nishmas Chaim was that the entire neshama, whatever that means, the entire, as he puts it, the entire Atzmusa Yisbarach was Nichnas L'Toicha Adam. That can't farchog a chet. Once there's a chet, particularly the chet of Eitz Hadas, which I'll try to explain at some point, that's a contradiction to having the full Atzmusa Yisbarach Shema. I don't even know exactly what it would be to have full Atzmusa Yisbarach Shema inside of you, but the neshama went out of us, and it's choifefes alav, and it's hovering over us. And that seems to be the situation until Moshe Rabbeinu came along, and Moshe Rabbeinu was the Ish Elokim, which absorbed also part of the Atzmusa Yisbarach, and but since then nobody's holding on that madrega. That's what the Nefesh Hachaim says, and he's very adamant about this, and I explained that that's probably the importance of that is probably La Fuke, the Das of the Tanya, which we learned together, which holds, which seems to say pretty clearly that Punkt Verkehrt, that every person has a neshama. The neshama is a chelik elikai bibal babish. This is lashon. We learned it together in Perek Beis of Sefer Tanya, and he holds that on the contrary, the neshama is within every person, and you'd have to really do a big babatz. He talks about later in the tshuva part to get it out of you. But the bottom line is that so when we use phrases we like to use like there's a pintul yid, there's a piece of God with inside of us. Everybody has a little bit of Hashem inside of us. That's all very beautiful. That's Hasidic right. That's Balatanya right. According to the Nefesh Hachaim, doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be that the neshama is outside of us. He didn't like. I'm just offering my own political analysis of this. That what the Goyim was afraid of was, I explained, was Shabtai Tzvi, who was very, very big. If you read about him and what he wrote even, he was very big on the fact that the tzaddik Yesod Olam, that he's the tzaddik that has God within him and they have to treat him like God, and he even has a license to change different things which are not nogea for him. So he saw himself as the Adam Harishon, or the Moshe Rabbeinu of the Dor, or the Mashiach, which is, by the way, without any respect to Shabtai Tzvi, he's right, because that is the neshama of Mashiach. The neshama of Mashiach is like Adam, Moshe, Mashiach, or Adam, right? Is Adam, David, Mashiach. Adam, David, Mashiach. So I'm sorry, Adam, David, Moshe. In a funny kind of an order, but there's it's all one neshama. So it's not so sure that he would say that's Musa Yispara. Even Reb Chaim Volozhin would agree to that. But the machlekes, the Nefesh Hachaim didn't like it. The Gra didn't like the idea, which is basically the idea of a Rebbe, that everybody's equal and some people are more equal. Like there's a higher level of the neshama which has more godliness within him. So that's the machlekes. I'm only saying the machlekes not to create more machlekes. I'm saying the machlekes to understand that this is the machlekes, the Balatanya and the Nefesh Hachaim, and the Gra for that matter. This is the machlekes that's talked about.
According to Shaar, is there an aspiration to bring that to Musaf?
Mashiach, when Mashiach comes.
That's Mashiach, but for each individual.
So this is what he talks about. Now, he talks about this is what we're going to talk about.
So sorry, before that as well, this is according to the Reb Chaim Volozhin, we have a godly neshama of anything, or it's not kind of godly at all.
What is there? What of the neshama?
Is there a godly
godly?
neshama?
You're saying it in English. what he says is, if you, I just quote you a paragraph, the breath. Rotzelober, if you have it, middle of Perek Tezvav, he says, the Shibas Piv Yisparach, Eilat Musa Mushpa Biskala B'Taycha Adav, Ki B'Raibim Tishkai. That if you're talking about Atzmusa Shal Kodesh Baruch Hu, that's B'Raibim Tishkai. B'Taych Piv Yisparach Kivyachol, it's B'Taych Piv of Kodesh Baruch Hu. Rak, Shehi Lo Senes Loi Bila B'Nitzaitzai Oira Allah. That's the answer to your question. That we have Nitzaitzais of the Piv Yisparach.
So it's like there's something there, but it's not.
What does that do? Lahaskiloi beimke batspune hatayra hakdosh osmosis, a certain closeness that we have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we're right near the neshama. So like it's like being right next to the strong electromagnetic range or something. Like we're feeling it. You're not touching it, but we're feeling. But it's not b'toich hatzmusei.
That's the difference.
Right, which is very interesting because it's a huge nafkamina, which I want to show you today, was a huge nafkamina between whether we say we're getting nitzoitzos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sounds very theoretical. We're getting nitzoitzos of the neshama, or we're getting the neshama, nitzoitzos of Hashem, or the actual Hashem within us. See, I pointed out on Sunday that like a lot of the experiences, even lahavdil avodah zarah experiences, where they can sort of tap into these energies. So to them, that's like so remarkable that must be God. But it's not necessarily God just because it's remarkable. There's a lot of remarkable things. Science is remarkable too. There's a lot of remarkable things that go on. The human biology is amazing, but it's not God. It's just amazing. So yes, that God created amazing things is true, but that's not yet God. They're just like short-sighted. So like the Rambam says at the beginning, the sun must be God, the moon must be God, the stars must be God, everything must be God. The Greeks, the early Greeks, this is the God of thunder. Everything is God, but they don't understand that there's millions and millions of kaichos of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you're not yet holding by God. You're not yet holding by God. That's so what we do have is nitzaitzos. I believe that there's a practical nafkamina, but what he does say here, or just one second, is that what's the purpose of these nitzaitzos? So let's look at Lashon carefully. Haskiloi means to give us seichel beimke matspune hatayra kadosha. See, can't ignore this sentence. That there's some people that learn. This feels very grum, but it's also this is the shita. That there are some, you can learn Torah like a subject from a book and understand it, you comprehend it, write an essay on it. You could do that. But there's an extra piece that you can get from the Nitzotzei HaNeshama, which you're only going to get from learning Torah, but it's an extra level of comprehension which you can get if you involve these Nitzotzos. Like I always feel in Torah and everything, some people get it, some people don't. Like it's just there's a certain, but the geniuses of this world, let's say, they have like it's an extra piece. I could sit and learn music all day and all. I'm not a musical genius. That was a musical genius. So there's an extra shtickle there. Like there's like an extra piece. An artist has an extra piece that they see that I can take art lessons, but it's not going to be that extra chelik. And some people in their Havana of Torah have this extra thing, and he tells us this is Gedolim, this is the tzaddikim, that they're not only using their brain and their physical capacities, but they're actually accessing something which can come after that of Nitzotzei HaNeshama. It's a very interesting idea that you can understand. I mean, the mashal I always give to try to understand this is sometimes like you're trying to figure something out, whether it's a taisus or whatever it might be, and you're thinking, and then all of a sudden you chop the teretz. And the teretz has nothing to do with what you were thinking about at all, right? Everybody's had that experience, just two. Now, if you wouldn't have done the thinking almost in the wrong area, that wouldn't have happened. That's a gift. That's a gift, or that's accessing another sort of an energy. Not God. It's not God. It's another energy that's out there. That's what I believe he says. Skilite, that's called seichel. One of the things that we need to talk about in the upcoming days is the difference of the nusach of the bracha of Chonei Hadas because in Nusach Ashkenaz, you say, Chaleinu b'yitcha, Deya, Bila, V'haskel. In Nusach, much Nusach Sfard, in Nusach Chabad, it's Chachma, Bila, Das. Now, it's not just because they're trying to do a promotion for the Chabad movement. It's there's a whole different mechanism as to how it works. And this Haskel, it's interesting because it's not part of it. So what Deya, Bila, V'haskel, where does that come from? Seichel. So you need to understand what seichel is. I believe, just to give you a hagdama, that it's what we're talking about. Seichel is that extra piece. You know what I'm saying? That extra something that only some people have. They get it. That you don't get just from the material. And it's not just cognitive. There's something more that could be there. And you can see this by Gedolim. You can see it by Gedolim, which I want to learn a little bit about that, but that's the Yisod. What do you have to say?
And the Nefesh Hachaim, he minimizes the machlokas between the Baal Tanya and the Nefesh Hachaim. Is he masking to what?
I don't think he minimizes it in this so much. He minimizes it in the Indian of Tzimtzum. But it is related because if you'll say that there's Tzimtzum Gabor, so then you can also say that the Neshama is HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is in me. Like it follows, but I didn't read his whole Kehillat Bais there, but I think it's connected.
Das, the das Hashem is like knowledge, factual.
And what's Chachma? No, so it's not so posh at the das is knowledge.
That's a keyword, huh?
Right, we learned like that, yeah.
Something I just like the elephant in the room, so I have to put it
Go for it.
You seem to be focused in the language of what the neshama is not and what is not in me. What I'm struggling with is that there's an opposite side, which is that my understanding would be, my experience I hope is, my neshama is much closer to me than my neshama is to you. I have it's something which is part of me, perhaps even it's muso, it's part of who I am. So we're focused on the part of how much of the neshama is really inside of me, and yet it's part of my own personal existence. So we have to
so far all we're saying though is that if your neshama is who you are, then it's not God, because you're not God. So the definition, I'm all for it. You know, the Tzayor gives me personality. The Tzayor gives me, as the Achronim say, the Mekubalim, say Chelkelu b'Sarasecha. Everybody gets a different nitzut tzavor. It's not God. So, it helps us understand what our kochos are. Let's go a little bit further, because I want to do something here. In Perek Tesvav, and excuse me just for today to skip a lot of his Kabbalah by Reb Chaim, because I want to get to a point here. But in Perek Tezayin, rather, he begins by saying, "V'hamaskilim seichel yavinu." What are maskilim? How do you want to translate maskilim? He doesn't mean reformers.
Intellectuals.
Right. Maskilim yavinu. In my pirush here, he says, "Ela shezacha labina yisera, lahaskel asichli yisavnivius." By the way, that bina yisera that women have also is different access to something which is not intellectual necessarily. It's not a mathematical. It's not something else. Something else. That's an intuition of sorts, or something beyond chachma and das. Haskel, certain seichel.
So the difference in the bracha is.
We'll get there. Hamaskilu yavidu shekein hu ha'inyan gam b'sharshei ha'elyon. Or do you have whoever has the Nefesh Hachaim? I want to skip about Adam HaKadmon for now and just move to make my point. Uvizeh yuvan kavanasan zal b'shmois Rabbah parsha mem aleph. I believe if we go backwards, we'll understand it better. There's a Medrash Rabbah in Shmois. That's something we can deal with. A Medrash Rabbah in Shmois. Parak mem aleph pasuk on the pasuk ki Hashem yitein chachma mipiv das usfuna. Great pasuk in Mishlei. They're all good, but this is a great pasuk in Mishlei. So Shlomo HaMelech says, ki Hashem, just think about this, meditate on it for a second. Hashem yitein chachma. Mipiv das utvuna. What do we have here is chachma, bina, and das. So Hashem yited chachma. Mipiv, is that something different?
With what we've been talking about.
Mipiv.
The-
So the Pashat of Pshat Mipiv, before we get too fancy about it, is from his Torah, Mipiv. Hashem said the Torah. Vayadaber Hashem Moshe Lebar. That's the Pashat of Pshat at Mipiv. Hashem Yitei Chachma, the Medrash says that. That's not, don't go with the Pashat of Pshat. Hashem Yitei Chachma Mipiv. So as you're saying, that we're talking about Vayipach Ba'apav Nishmas Chayim. Let's bring in a new concept here. Mipiv. Lama hadavar daima, says the Medrash. Let's understand it. Lamelech shahaya loy bein. A melech has a son. Ba b'nai b'beis hasefer. His son comes home from school. Matzah tamchui lifnei aviv. And he sees his father has a serving plate in front of him. A tamchui means a big plate full of food, variety of food. I have no idea why this has to be a melech, but every mashal, the Medrash is always mashal a melech. But because we're talking about Hashem. So the son comes home, sees his father sitting at the table with a beautiful plate of food. Melech, right? Malchus. Natal aviv chaticha achas, sees his son. The father takes a little piece of beautiful food, and son-in-law gives it to his son. Nah. Right? Eat. Amar Loi, the son says, no. Eini bivakesh el mashe b'toich piv. I want what you're chewing on.
That's right.
We've all had this experience.
This morning.
This morning. Okay. Me also. What does the father do? Son-in-law gives it to him. Seder. Seder. The Medrash, Hainu, Shebakoshas Haben Yakir Lahasik, Sheyushba Boy B'Nitzotzei Or B'Chilas Hanashama, Asher B'Kayr Dalava B'Neshivas Pivis Baruch Shema. That there's such a B'Chila of the son, meaning Klal Yisrael, saying, we don't want just what you have out there, the serving plate, Bipiv Das Usfuna, right? Hashem yitain chachma. Take. He's giving chachma. Let's get the mashal, the pasuk. Hashem yitain chachma. Here, have a pickle. Bipiv. The son says, no, I want something different. I want bipiv das utura. I don't want the chachma. I want the das. I want the tura, which is called piv shel hakadosh baruch Hu. Something to. Now this, the Nefesh Hachaim says, Hainu, Akashas haben yakir lahasik sheyushba by b'nitzotzei or b'chinas hanashama. I want the nitzait. I don't want only, I'll say it in my words, I don't want only the Torah, the Gemara, Rashi, Tosfos. I don't want only the Ramban and the Radak. I want piv. I want to take it right out of your mouth, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I want the nitzotzei or hanashama. That's what I want. Asher b'kayr dalava b'neshivas pivis baruch. I want which is hidden in your pen. Ramzu ayd b'l'shoyim hakodesh shimshila latina kabami beis hasefer dafka idea namana shein mavoi b'elam l'sahasik b'chinas nitzotzei or hanashama. In the Bais HaSefer, the kid is not, guess why he's coming home from school? Why is it just coming into the kitchen? You're coming from school, this is what I know, this is what I read, this is what I learned. But now I want something, he's going to his father for a deeper insight. What does it really mean? The only way you can get this is first you go to the Bais HaSefer, first you learn. You can't jump, he tells us. First you learn. And then you can start talking about the Piv Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I was reminded, but I just want to share this with you. Sefer Tzniasa, part of the Zohar. Sefer Tzniasa has a pirush of the. See how much I use it. Is part of the group. This is the Pirush HaGra of the Sefer Tzniasa I'm told the most important gra, also very, very difficult to understand. In this particular volume, Agav, it has a pirush on the gra for Rabbi Weintraub, who's Gadol Ma'od, Zatzal, Big Makubal, and Mashgiach, and he explains the gra. So that's a chachma. In the Hakdama, there's a Hakdama to the gra on the sefer Tzniusa from Reb Chaim Volozhin. And in here, he speaks about the sefer Tzniusa, and he speaks about the gra. And there's just one nakuda here, which is very interesting. I just want to read it with you a little bit. Just the right place to. Shamati b'piv. He says, I heard from the Gra, as Reb Chaim Volozhin says, Shamati mipiv. Shepamim rabois, hishkimoi lepischai kama magidim min hashamayim b'shelosam v'akashasam, sheroitzim limsar loy rozen deraisa v'loy shum amo. That the Goyim reported that very often different magidim came to him from Shamayim, Malachim, I guess, and they had a bakasha that they wanted to reveal to the Gra. The Gra said this. They wanted to reveal to the Gra different secrets, Raza Deraisa, and it's yours. Just I want to teach you this stuff. Lahita azdai aleim klal. And the Goy ignored them. Echad ben Abagidim hifsir ba'im ba'oid. The Goy reported that one of them put tremendous pressure on him. He calls them Lahibit al Barehu Hagadol. He wouldn't even look at him. Leave me alone. These were holy things. And the guide said, Eini roitze shetia hasagasi b'terasa yisbarach shmoi ayidei shum emsoi klal uklal. I don't want any middle man between me and Hashem. Rak einai nesuis lo yisbarach shmoi. I want to learn Torah straight from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not a magid. What Hashem wants to be Megala to me, He will. By be working for it. Hu yisbarach shma yitei li chachma b'piv dasu tefuna. Baruch Hashem shediskarti. The guide said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu yitei li chachma and b'piv dasu tefuna. I can get the Torah. Now you would think this would be pretty cool if we would have a Magid come to us and want to be Magal, we'd become a big rebbe, right? Like you have a Gilui of Magidim.
Ramchal.
Ramchal, Beis Yosef. Beis Yosef wrote a sefer, Magid Beisharim, which is all Giluyim from the Magid. Ramchal was all Giluyim from Magid. The Goin, the big tzaddikim claimed, and I'm sure it was true, that they had Giluyim from Magidim. So there's something extra Torah, like beyond whatever it is that somebody can learn. He says, I don't want it. Why? Ironically, because it's not Mipiv. Why do I say ironically? Because to me it's counterintuitive. What would seem intuitive is that, okay, now I'm learning from a book, but now I'm learning from a Magid. I'm learning, like, I'm getting it straight from Shemayim. No, that's an episode. Mipiv das usuna, I want to get it straight from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So ad kadei kach, that it was, he looked at it like a Yetzer Hara, like he's pushing, go away from me. Hashem is giving to him, but he's pushing it away.
It's not part of the Torah.
Okay.
The God didn't mind learning from a Rebbe, right?
A Rebbe?
Yeah.
Rebbe's teaching you how to learn. She'yited li chachma b'piv das utzvuna, she'yited li, this is all I want, says the guy, she'yited li leiv mevin, v'chil yois hayasu kishtei b'yanais. I want my lave to work correctly. I want my kidneys, kloyos, should be kishtei b'yanais, the creative part of the person. Ve'eda ki motzasi chen me'edav, I know that Hashem likes me, ve'edi roitzel l'ma shebetoich piv. So shebetoich piv, this should be on the bottom of every Nefesh Hachaim. It should be written in the margin.
Reb Chaim says he heard that from the people of the book.
Right. He heard it from the piv of the God. Yeah. Exactly right. B'toich pi. B'toich pi. So this goes to the Medrash. The Nefesh Hachaim brings this Medrash that the son takes the food out of his mouth. Here, he's explaining it. It's a little bit aniyim Malkum Zevash here. He's explaining what it means is I don't want anyone to say. I want to come to it myself. And that's whatever Hashem wants to give me, He'll give me. You hear the Omek Hadavar? In other words, if it's easy, then it's not. It's not me peeve. If it's an emsoy, it's not me peeve. If Hashem gave me whatever kochos Hashem gave me within me to understand something, and that's what I can understand, that's me peeve. That's me peeve. But the other way it's the tamchoi. It's all for the girl. To understand something because of malachim or magidim. V'sarei haTorah. Asher lo yamalti v'lo ein li bahem chayfetz. Then Reb Chaim Volozhin tells here a story. B'didi havu uvda. That Sheshalach Rabbeinu, I see the Vilna Goat sent me Eitzel Achi Hakatan V'Agadol Mimeni B'chol Mila D'Meit of Chasida Kadisha of Shlomo Zalman. We know that Reb Chaim Volozhin had a younger brother that who died very, very young. Who, according to the Messiah, he was bigger than the Gra. This is Shlomo Zalman, but he died young. That was the younger brother of Reb Chaim Volozhin. I believe he was the one actually. The Gra took a very big interest in this Reb Shlomo Zalman, and Reb Chaim Volozhin was the one who became a Talmud afterward. But he was the Iker. But he was I think 7. I think I read, and he was giving the Shiur to Vilna. He was giving the main Gemara Shiur in Vilna.
And then he went outside and played.
Then he went outside and played. Yeah, that's time's up. Recess. So the Goin said to Reb Chaim Volozhin, he says, go tell your brother Shlomo Zalman, Leimer lei b'tzivui mishmai, say to him, tell him in my name, that when he's learning, shelo yekabel shum malach. You should be very careful not to be makabel any malach bagid asher yavay etzlei. Because when he's least expecting it, a malach's going to come and wanted to teach him something. Halavayah, Mir Gezak, that I should be open to something. He says, that's going to happen. Tell him it's going to happen. And tell him that he should not be makabel. Shlomo Zalman should not be makabel a malach. The Amar, and he told, and the guy said, Af ki maran ha Beis Yosef hayoloi magid. And he says, you'll ask a kasha that the Beis Yosef had a magid. 200 years, that's all. That means 400 years ago, right? That was a different time. We're not talking about now Avos or Tanoim or Rabbi Roy. Beis Yosef was living in a different time, living in Tzfas, different time. He had a magid. So, Hayashari al Admas Kodesh. He was in Eretz Yisrael. You, Shlomo Zalman, and me, we're in Vilna. We're not in Eretz Yisrael. Like Kain Ata Sherabu HaBispartzim Ubefrat B'Chutzar. So there's so many people claiming that they're having all kinds of giluyim and things. Efshir Klal Shiyah Kulai Kodesh Kadoshim Belish Koil Iru Klal. It's like another title. Besides for not being mipiv, it's going, even if it's authentic, this magid, it's going to have an irvuv of tov v'ra. It's going to have some sitra achra in it. Ubefrat hagiluyim asher b'loy Torah nafshay bahala b'hem v'loy hay nechshav etzlei klal l'klal.
What's the difference between learning Gemara and having a magid? Okay, learning from other people.
It requires only your own havana. This is a Rebbe. A Rebbe is not teaching, he's just telling you what it says. He's teaching you how to read what it says. He's teaching you how to read. But it's not, in Kabbalah, it's more, that's where the real kasha is. Kabbalah, it's more giving over a Basir. It's not so much havana. But, so I'm getting my Basir from a Malach. I want to be peeved. Isn't it counterintuitive? Am I correct? Like you would think it's a holier level.
I don't see how they could have an ear from Torah. It's already at that level above.
You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what this gilui is. In other words, he's not saying it's not a gilui, but he's saying you don't know what this gilui is. Again, remember the times. Remember the after Shabtai Tzvi, and remember
He
Hasidus
okays the Beis Yosef, but he doesn't mention the Ramchal.
doesn't mention the Ramchal because he doesn't talk much about the Ramchal until late in his life. He spoke about the Ramchal. The Goin. The Goin hardly spoke of the Ramchal.
Doesn't it seem that, like the Rav just said, that the reason the God didn't want it is he didn't want something just given over on a silver platter. He wanted to do
Tamchui. Yeah.
his own work.
So it seems like there's two pieces here that he says in this reading. One piece is mipiv dasus fuda. And mipiv dasus fuda, as I say counterintuitively, means from my life, from my kloyos, from me. That's mipiv. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu created me. And this is the Caleb that he gave me. So don't give me now, I don't want to cheat. Don't tell me the answer. It's like, don't tell me the answer. That's not mipiv. If you give me the brains to understand, I'll work on it to understand. If you didn't give me the brains, you don't want me to understand. But don't tell me the answer. Like it doesn't mean anything to me. It's like you're taking a big test or something for the National Bible Contest. Somebody slips you the answer. So buzz it. I want it to be my accomplishment understood, but it's not that this wasn't like a guy if I wanted to be my accomplishment. You wanted it to be mipiv. And second of all, once you're not mipiv, this is the second thing that he says, who knows what's getting mixed into, like I would say like this, maybe it's a sitrach, or maybe it's a something, or maybe you're a little bit cuckoo. Like maybe there's a little bit of dimyonos and imagination where a person can think that I'm getting like all kinds of, I can't tell you, I mean I mentioned this before, how many different Nevi'im have approached me. All the time. I don't know why, like wherever country I'm in, Australia, America, Israel, they find me to tell me that they are Mashiach all the time. Like I think for some reason, like everybody, I think like so many Mashiachs have, but like they always have the same challenge. Well, what if like when you consider to be the real Mashiach comes, you're going to also consider him nuts, like because he's telling you he's hearing voices. Right? That's I hear it. But you're really nuts. It's clear to me. The thing is, like it could be sitrach, or it could be tumah, could be who knows what it is, or it could be just like something wrong with the brain. So, but this is the guy says, like when it's coming, mipiv dasus fuda, it's pure. And ironically, the purity is when it comes from myself. That's the ironic part. He says here, if I could just go a little bit further, Gedola bizu, even more than that, Hayoimer, Mashan neshama maseges hasagais niflois v'nairois b'shena. The neshama. Now, when you're sleeping, you're not learning. When you're sleeping, what are you doing? What's happening there cognitively? Yeah, but cognitively.
Processing what happened during the day.
Okay, so now you get something which is you never thought about, like a gilui in your sleep. Nevi'im had. So Alishaba Maseges Hasagais Niflois V'Neirois B'Shena Ayidei Aliyas Neshama B'Shashua Elyon B'Msivasadi Law. Your Neshama is visiting the Mesivta de Rakia, and there it's hearing secrets. The guy woke up with these unbelievable giluyim. No big deal. In other words, this that you get in your sleep, you just got a hurrah kibul schar. This is a little bit of a kibul schar from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He wasn't denying it. There's a little bit of a kibul schar from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu batiboy bazel olam ein olam haba. The beautiful. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Vildagon, you're a tzaddik. You learn all day. I want to show you a little bit what olam haba looks like. Give a little gift. But okay.
But that's direct from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's not like it.
It's not direct. Even that. That's what he's saying. It's not direct. Direct's only what you do yourself. The Reb Chaim Volozhin says, "Mashmois Dvar v'Akdoshim." If I'm a dayak in a grow, which you're allowed to do, you can be a dayak in a grow. When he said this over, Hayilei Aliyas Neshama B'Dei Laila B'Laila. Obviously, he had many of these. Tzaddik HaKohen wrote a whole sefer, Kutras Divrei Chaloimos. very valuable. I mean, the things that came to him, understanding things that he was never able to understand himself. And the guy said this is true, but it's a little gift. It's a little tchotchke that you get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu for learning all day.
The Mashar and Brachos on Isha Mesaperes and Bala, by the Shlosh Hashmeres. So he explains the mechanism.
Of dreaming.
He says that in the
Who's he?
Mashar, Chodesh Agados, in the beginning of Brachos. Shlosh Hashmeres B'Layla, and the third Hashmer is Isha Mesaperes and Bala. So the Mashal says the person who has Midas Emes can be Zeichet in Nevuah and Echaloi. And because he says it's in the first part of the night, like the Chumrius corrupts the message, but then we get the last third.
It's pure.
It's pure, and it could be mass person.
So what's interesting is that we spoke about it on Pesach, that the higher Madrega yet than the Nevuah is Torah Shabbat Peh, where it's Sarusa Dulasata, you're coming to it on your own. It's even a higher Madrega. Nevuah is a Nevuah. You get what you get.
Is this similar like the moral system, that being dependent on others? If you're not dependent, then you're more Kaddish. Is it that kind of thing as well?
If you're not dependent,
No, it's like to be more Kaddish is to be basically that your growth is through yourself rather than
Independent.
being Yeah. I mean, is that
says Morel says that just like God is independent, you should be independent. That's
So is
the,
that the same?
maybe. Nice.
I think it also fits very well with what we said about the difference between Adam and Malach. Adam is connected all the way up.
And a Malach is not.
Malach you're not, so you're getting from a cliche.
Very good. Moshe, very good. In other words, a Malach is here, there. We're the whole chain. So why do I have to settle for a Malach? What I'm being mechadish to myself and to you today is that what you would think is the highest madrega, we can get on a much higher madrega, and that's called bipiv dasu, and that is the Nitzaitze. That's the Nitzaitze AJOP. That's what it is. There's one more thing. He says so much here. It's good to read this whole thing, but he says this Reb Chaim Volozhin says Neman alai Abba Shabashabayim. I swear to you, Sheshabati bipiv hakadosh. That I heard from the guide, that there was a certain dreamer in Vilna. And he would dream and get up and tell people his dreams, and it would shake everybody up. He was able to tell people, this is what you did yesterday. This is what you did when nobody was looking, and he was right. So there was such a chaloim. Now, what would we do if we met such a guy? I would run personally, but you ask him for a bracha, you bring your children, like unbelievable thing, right? The nafle a masay al abrius bay. The whole Vilna was in pachad of this guy. Behuva lefanav, and they brought him to the Vilna Gaon. So interesting. Let's see what you really are. The Amar Lai, and the man said to the guide, this was from man, he wasn't, Amar Lai, Rabbi, Tarshuni Leiber Davar Echad Lifnechem, may I share my dream about you that I had. Kizeh Shvuayim B'yoyim Chamishi, that for 2 weeks on Thursday nights, Yashavta B'zeh HaMakom, you sat right here, V'chidashta B'parshas Ha'azinu, and you said Chidushim B'parshas Ha'azinu, Al Oisan B'oisan Psukim, you told him exactly which Psukim he was being B'chadasha. B'yashav Etzlchem, and at that point, on those Thursday nights, was sitting with you, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, Miyamin, V'Arizal Mismo. Again, like somebody would tell this to you. How did you know? So the Goyen is listening to this. Amar le Rabbeinu, Emes. This is why he says, Never the Goyen said, it's true. Chidashti uz inyanim neiroin, and there was huge chidushim taking place on Thursday nights, currently in Parshas Azinu. But then the guy became very savu panav ma'oid. Because the guy realized Now, apparently, the way I'm understanding this is not that Rav Shimon Bar Yochai was necessarily sitting at his side, but he realized that the things that he was saying on those Thursday nights in Parshas Hazinu would be right to share with Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. Had Rav Shimon Bar Yochai been sitting here, so that was the Goyen's take on what this man said. Acher kach, hitzitz bifnei hacholim. And then he picked up his eyes and he looked at this guy who was dreaming. Haven v'hikar, and the Goyen with his deep perception and holy eyes. Haven v'hikar shehu bal marash chayra. He said, this man is depressed. Marash chayra. Ubal marash chayra leprakim chalamoisab tzaykis v'amitim min kol zet sivoy la'agabay l'doichbay l'garshay. He's depressed. A depressed person can sometimes have insight that nobody else has, but it's taveh. And sivoy la'agabay l'doichbay, to push him l'garshay. Push him. You don't want to be in front of him. So, like, an amazing story. Like, so, what is? I'm feeling like he's saying a little bit of what I was thinking. That is that a person has giluyim. They're emes giluyim. They're emes giluyim. So we're traveling now from his own learning of Mepiv Das Sunnah. What is the pshat in this man? Which we often ask. We see people that seem to be clairvoyant or, have some kind of a connection. So, we can always ask, like, what's the pshat? So what the Goyen was listening to him, and he's saying, I hear it, and it's MS, and you're certainly seeing things that nobody else is seeing, but since you're depressed, Marash Chayra is interesting because Marash Chayra, Marash Chayra refers to a black bile. It's sort of like a chemical type of a depression as opposed to a psychological depression. I'm not a Bucky. Yitzchak's a Bucky a little bit, but I'm not a...
They're
it's a chemical disorder. Yeah, it's hard to... But Chazal spoke about Marash Chayra, that there's something having to do with the pancreas and the kidneys that create a bile within the person, or at least that's what they thought. But the bottom line is depressed. When there's depression, so the Goyen understood that there's something, look, I mean, how can you not be depressed when you see what everybody is doing in their hidden places? It was like, the people you thought were great. So okay, with the Goyen it was very nice, Bar Yochai, but other people that he thought were good people, like maybe his wife and things like that. Like if you don't want to see too much, right? You don't want to see too much. So he was depressed. But if you're depressed, my understanding is now you have some kind of a Makara Kedusha. You have something which is Kadosh, but it's also, who knows what's being mixed into that. And what's being mixed into it could be Sitrachra, could be Tumah, or it could be like you have an emotional problem. So if you have an emotional problem, we can't listen to you anymore. So the Vilna Gaon discounted anything. This is the bottom line, which is not mipiv das usuna. If it comes anything that comes kind of supernaturally to a person, discount it. Haida Beis Yosef, Ramchal, Gilui Eliyahu throughout Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi and Gilui Eliyahu so many times. He says it's a different door. Now this is the Goyen. We have to be medayik. This is the Goyen by the Eidim and Reb Chaim Volozhin. It's a different door. Kal v'chomer now we're a different door. So if it came through Amelus, it came through Amelus. Agav, I just wanted to share. I just happened to be reading. Maybe you read it too because you probably read the same thing I read. But I was reading Rav Shach, Olav Shalom. Rav Shach said that he lived to 103. He went through huge amount of tsaros. He went for during the wars. During the wars he went for weeks and weeks without food. He stayed in freezing rooms. He didn't have it until it was just completely that he had a family and he lost his family. Just terrible. So the words of Rav Shach, this is what he said. He said that his Avi Ezri on the Rambam, which is six volumes of the Rambam, I think, that the Avi Ezri, Rav Shach wrote on the Rambam. He said, I could write a much bigger sefer just about my tsaros, much bigger than the Avi Ezri. He says, but I was always besimcha. He said it wasn't until Rabbi Zalman Meltzer came and helped him out and brought him into his house that he was able to be normal again. His hair from the cold and from the no bathing and no anything became hard that they couldn't cut it. That's what he writes. That was the aliyahs that he went through. Same, no clothes. He had the same clothes for 20 years. Never one piece of clothing, like that he wore for 20 years. No way to really clean it. But he says that I was always besimcha. The reason I was always besimcha is because we peeved asus hunos, because he was always involved in Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, learning Torah gave him a simcha. So he says that as well. I can write Avi Ezri about my tzaras, but I never experienced anything that was other than simcha throughout all of that. So, phenomenal, right? Like the Rav Shach said about himself. Always besimcha, because he had this kesher of through Torah. Now, when I read it, I thought, wow, that's like a real Litvisher Rosh Hashiva thing. His kesher. It was, to him, that was the b'chaya his neshama. Like the tzaitzes are neshama was b'chaya his neshama. But Lead Yonenu, what I wanted to bring out is that this is the Nefesh Hachaim point. This was the whole shita that he's going with.